Good afternoon, this is Justin Nielsen along with Ed Carson, and we have your stock market today for February 15th. So, market's up today. We've got the Dow Jones up the most, 1.7%, S&P just over 1%, and the NASDAQ up at about 0.6%, and it looks like it might just be clearing that 200-day moving average that we've been talking a lot about.
Yeah, I mean, the S&P did it earlier this week, and the NASDAQ doing it today. That'd be a really nice sign. It's obviously been a resistance point. I don't want to make too much of it, because the markets all had solid weekly gains. I mean, you know, it's a resistance, but it's almost paper mache resistance to a certain extent. If you look at, if we had a weekly chart, you'd see it like wow, it's just like, we're just moving right along. I mean, I think it's, you know, yet another weekly gain. Pretty strong action, I'd say.
Yeah, and especially because sometimes when you take that step back and you look at the weekly chart, that really can kind of inform you of the overall what's happening in the rally. And really, since the bottom in Christmas Eve, we've really had a pretty remarkable run with very little distribution, very little speed bumps along the way. I mean, we had a resistance at the 50-day and now at the 200-day, but this is really not doing much in terms of stopping this rally.
No, and the only stocks that are really falling apart are like on earnings-related news. There's not, you know, leading stocks are holding up, you know, and they're moving on. It's just a good market right now.
Yeah, so let's take a look at a few stocks. First of all, we have Ciena. Now, this is what we call a rarer base, the ascending base. What's going on with Ciena?
Well, it's a series of small patterns here. Like, you know, it's basically a stock that can't be held back.
Yeah.
You know, and what's interesting is that we had a lot of ascending bases in 2018, but those were really, the market was sort of moving in a choppy fashion. But this year, we've got a situation where the market, Ciena was moving higher even during the correction. I mean, and that was really rare. And so now we had these two pullbacks and then moved again and making one more pullback, but it really hasn't stopped.
And even more importantly, the pullbacks weren't even as bad as the market itself. The worst pullback in this case, that first pullback I think was 14%. The most recent one was only 8%. So that really kind of shows you how strong Ciena was relative to the market, and of course that was reflected in the relative strength line.
Yeah, and it's our IBD stock of the day. It's been on IBD leaderboard for
quite a while now.
Yeah, quite a while, because it's been outperforming so much. I mean, the relative strength line is not at its all-time high because of that little pullback, but by any measure, it's really been outperforming. It was testing a buy point today, not a whole lot of volume today, so maybe in the days ahead, it'll really carry on and push through, but really strong action.
Yeah, one quick suggestion I have for folks is that if you aren't as familiar with the ascending base, you might want to check out How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill, either the 3rd or the 4th edition, because actually in the 2nd edition he doesn't talk about the ascending base. It wasn't until AOL in 1999 reminded him about his Redmond Industries trade in 1967 that he's like, let's go ahead and put this in the book. So that's something that you definitely want to check out if you haven't already, How to Make Money in Stocks, and that would be chapter 2 in the 4th edition. Let's go ahead and move on into Blackline. Blackline broke out today on earnings report. What was going on with Blackline?
Well, actually earnings fell, but it was much better than expected. The stock has been is in a deep cup with handle, a little deeper than you'd like to see, though we did have the correction. 41% deep. You know, when we say it's over 40%, that's getting a little dicey in terms of the odds of success. There's just something issue there, but cleared the buy point. The volume was strong, about double normal. The relative strength line has been picking up. You know, it's just another one of the software groups. Again, it's nothing wrong with being a top stock in a leading sector. I mean, that's really what we got going on here. Yeah, there's other stocks, but software is the top sector in 2019.
Right. And we've got a number of stocks in that sector and in that specific industry group. HubSpot, Team, Atlassian. There's just a lot of leadership there, and when you see all that leadership, you can start looking for, okay, what else is in there? Maybe get some other ideas. One thing you might do is look at the stock checkup. We talked about this on a previous video, looking at the stock checkup to get some of those other ideas in the industry group. So Blackline might be one that kind of guides you towards some of those other stocks in the group.
Yeah.
That wraps it up for us today. Remember that the market is closed on Monday for the holiday, the President's Day holiday, so hopefully everyone has a great holiday, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday, and enjoy your time. And don't forget that if you aren't on our social media channels, please do check those out. We are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course Twitter. So with that, have a great weekend. Thanks a lot.